Audi is finally hitting the brakes on touchscreens and touch controls, and I couldn't be more delighted to learn about this fantastic news. I really commend Audi for taking this bold step, listening to their customers' feedback, and finding their way back to what really made Audi's interiors the benchmark, period. If you guys take a look at some of the Audi interiors from 2015, 2016, for example, the Audi TT, the Audi R8, even their sedans, I mean, especially if you take a look at the TT, that TT had pretty much one of the all-time best interiors, period. I'm gonna share with you guys some picture about the TT interior and why exactly it is one of the best car interiors, period. So stick around. But first of all, let's talk about this fantastic news that Audi has just released. Audi is bringing back physical buttons, finally. I mean, I've been waiting for this for a very long time. There's two things that make me happy in today's car industry. It's car manufacturers hitting the brakes on two things, on EVs and touchscreens. So essentially what this tells us is Audi's finally listening to their customer feedback. Who on earth would enjoy having touch button on a steering wheel over physical buttons? Physical buttons that without having to look at the steering wheel, you know exactly what button to press and where to press it every single time without taking your eyes off the road. Unlike these terrible touch buttons that Audi has incorporated in their newest models. For example, let's take a look at these touch controls on this new Audi interior, which I believe is from the A6. Correct me guys if I'm wrong. But I believe the newest Audi models pretty much have the exact same interior with these two huge screens. But not only these touch buttons are terrible ergonomically, but they are also terrible looks wise. You have this piano black trim that houses these touch controls, and the last part in your car interior you would want to have fingerprints on, it's your steering wheel, because your steering wheel is always in front of you and you wouldn't want to have a steering wheel that's always messy with your fingerprints. In a surprising but welcome announcement, Audi is ditching the touch sliders mounted on the steering wheel of 5 cars. The A5, Q5, A6, A6 e-tron and Q6 e-tron are now receiving physical rollers to adjust volume and scroll through the digital screen's menus. It's a small step, but a step in the right direction nonetheless. So here we have a picture with the physical dials right here, although in this situation they haven't gotten rid of all the touch controls which we still have around these physical toggles right here. So this is not the most ideal type of situation, although it does improve things a little bit. But this is only fixing a part of the problem, not the entire problem, all right? What I would want to see is just physical buttons, period, not only on the steering wheel, but across the entire center console. Let's scroll down a little bit and check out some of the interior pictures from the Audi Concept C, which is pretty much what the new Audi supercar, the new Volare, is gonna look like. So right off the bat, this is a much cleaner interior. With no giant tablet screen sticking up at the middle of the center console, you can see the steering wheel pretty much only has physical buttons. It has physical dials, no sight of touch controls, which is an absolute delight. Check out how the lower center console is super clean. Nonetheless, we still have these AC touch control shortcuts right in the middle of the center console, which is in my honest opinion a much better implementation of AC controls compared to what you would typically have in a car with a giant tab screen sticking up at the middle of the center console right here, in which you would have to toggle between countless menus to just find your AC controls and operate them in the way you would want to. Now, the reason why a lot of car manufacturers have replaced physical buttons with touch screens and touch controls is simply because of cost. It costs a lot more to manufacture physical buttons compared to giant touchscreens. Many automakers have gone overboard with cost cutting, resorting to cheaper materials while relying heavily on supersized screens and finicky touch controls. Even worse, some cars require you to use the touchscreen for most functions after largely eliminating separate controls. The Concept C aims to bring back the glory days of interiors with anodized aluminum physical controls and what the company describes as the unmistakable Audi click. Now, this thing right here is what does it for me when it comes to physical controls. There is nothing that comes even close to replacing the haptic and physical feedback you have and you experience from using a high quality premium high-class material button, the likes of which Audi used to make back in their glory days back in 2015, 2016. So now I want to take you guys back to the glory days of Audi, back when Audi used to make some of the best car interiors, when Audi's interiors were the benchmark. And honestly, I still think that they are the benchmark up to this day, and they haven't aged not a single bit. Now, let's check out the Audi TT interior, which in my honest opinion is hands down one of the best car interiors to have ever come out from any car manufacturer, period. First things first, let's talk about the gauge cluster right here. You can see that the gauge cluster curve perfectly matches the curve of the steering wheel, meaning that the steering wheel does not hide the gauge cluster in any way, shape, or form. The same cannot be said with Audi's newest models like the RS5, which I'm gonna show you right now. As you guys can see, here we have the interior of the all-new Audi RS5. You can straight away tell that there's a flaw here. And the flaw is the steering wheel is pretty much covering and hiding some parts of the huge digital gauge cluster. And the reason being is this huge digital gauge cluster screen right here is way too big to just fit in this section right here under the steering wheel. And this is problematic because you would have the steering wheel basically blocking the view right here. So it's not only a functionality issue, but it's also a design issue because this doesn't look good at all when you have this part of the gauge cluster right here protruding over the steering wheel. Now let's go back to the TTS interior. This is not the case, and you can see how beautiful this design looks. Now let's talk about the center console right here, which is the main reason why I believe this is one of the all-time best looking car interiors, period. You have no screen sticking up right here. You have all the information you would ever need about your car, about various functions of your car, the navigation, the radio system, the settings, whatever menus you want to play around with. You have everything sitting right in front of you, right here in the digital cockpit right here. And here you have three beautiful vents, some of the best looking vents ever, and what I personally think is the best implementation of AC controls ever, period. And there's no debate about that. I mean, that's just my honest opinion. These are the best AC controls ever. The number one reason is because they are literally in the middle of the air vents, and this looks absolutely magnificent. The number two reason is they are toggle switches, and if you guys know a thing or two about ergonomics, the best ergonomics you can have for AC controls is toggle switches, because it is a lot faster and more convenient to toggle these dials compared to pressing buttons, or even worse, playing around with touchscreens. The other reason is nothing even comes close to the type of feedback you get from playing around with these dials, especially these Audi dials. Audi has always been known for having some of the best feedbacks for physical buttons and dials, and these are no exception. And then right in between each of these vents you have these physical buttons right here for various climate controls, and then right at the bottom you have this beautifully designed physical button section with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons right here, which looks absolutely stunning and surrounded by real aluminum trim. Then right at the bottom again you have this absolutely beautiful lower center console, which is all wrapped in real carbon fiber and then wrapped in Napa leather with this beautiful red contrast stitching. You can see there's no side of piano black, which is the most terrible car interior component you could ever have in a car. So this is pretty much a 10 out of 10. This is pretty much a home run. And this is why I believe the Audi TT interior is one of the best car interiors. Here we take a closer look at these vents, and you can pretty much right away tell how premium they are and how beautiful the whole design is. These are arguably the best air vents I've ever seen and the best AC controls I've ever seen, period, in any car. That's not even up for debate. Here's another view of these beautiful air vents, and check out the soft touch plastic of the center console right here, which gives a very pleasant tactile feedback when you press on it. So this is no cheap plastic right here, guys. Although I would have preferred the dashboard to be wrapped in leather, but I think the price tag of the TT does not justify the use of leather for the center console. Here we have another look at a basic TT. This is not the TTS. And once again, you can see how clean and how pure this interior looks. It doesn't need to be in the Audi TTS trim to stand out or to look any more special. You don't have to go all the way to the TTS or TTRS to have a beautiful interior. The TT, the base TT, already had a great foundation and has a fantastic interior. Here's a closer look again at the lower center console, which absolutely blew me away the first time I saw it. So I'm gonna say this, and I will always say this: Audi has always made some of the best physical buttons in the business. I mean, just check out these aluminum buttons right here for the various infotainment functions that you have right here. It looks absolutely stunning. You also have this control pad right here wrapped in the same aluminum trim, and check out the shape and design of the buttons around it. This is just peak design, and it's such a shame that it has gone really downhill from here. And there's no sight of piano black. You have this beautiful real carbon fiber trim wrapping around the entire lower center console with this beautiful white contrast stitching and this nappa leather wrapping around the edges of this lower center console. And check out the base of the gearbox, all wrapped in this beautiful solid piece of aluminum, which looks absolutely stunning, as well as this S-tronic gear lever, which design is inspired from a golf ball with this beautiful aluminum piece that's wrapping around the bottom of it, as well as this beautiful nappa leather with white contrast stitching at the base of it. So I'm very, very excited about this fantastic news from Audi, and I cannot wait to see Audi finally bringing back physical buttons to their interiors and hopefully find their way back to making some of the best car interiors ever, the same way they did back in 2015, 2016, more than a decade ago. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.